Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. This is Prince of Queens, and I am doing a stream. If you guys notice, I have not really been streaming very much recently. I've probably only streamed about um 3 or 4 times in the past month, to be as far as I remember. And then I streamed last night, and that went weirdly. Um, I don't know if anybody heard about the drama, and I don't know if I really even want to talk about it at this point because it's one of those things where I didn't actually behave super well. Granted, the other person that inspired the drama was really bad, and is continuing to be crazy to the point where they are discrediting themselves. So if I just don't really talk about it, that might just be the best thing, because it's like I didn't really technically do anything actually all that bad. I talked about potentially doing something bad and then decided to delete my tweets where I said that. But I didn't actually do anything. So, you know.
You're killing me, Smalls.
So what exactly is going on here? Is this like a drama alert 2.0 or something, or?
Well, it was something that happened related to something on Facebook. There was an individual who was making up blatant lies, and this is somebody who apparently considers themselves some sort of Antifa, like they have Antifa as like some sort of Antifa sign as their banner advertisement. And they were making up blatant lies and saying somebody was racist, and it was they didn't provide any evidence of that. And they take the person's name, said that the person's racist, and literally called for targeted harassment. Like said, if anybody's friends with this person, unfriend them, or I think you should call them out. So that's definitely very specific targeted harassment. And so I thought that that was uncool. So I posted their face and their Facebook name, and I said somebody should post this person on 4chan. And then some people were like, "Oh, you shouldn't say that though. That's tacky of you to say that." And I was like, "Oh, fuck off," because I was drunk. And then I realized that they were kind of right, you know. And so I deleted the tweets. But you know, like somehow the guy got hold of them. I don't even know how. But I didn't actually post him on 4chan, and I didn't even explicitly say that anybody should actually do anything to him, technically. But ranting feminist started tweeting at me, and I thought that she was someone else. I thought that she was like part of the Christy Winter crew, so I kind of swore at her and like said some weird shit, and I ended up swearing at Shiwan Head too. So yeah, it was kind of a silly thing. I made a video about it today apologizing, because ultimately it was not entirely, like, I didn't handle it super well, you know.
I didn't ship you any mead, did I? Because that same thing happened to Wrath, I think, at some point.
He had a little too much of your mead and ended up picking a fight with the staircase.
Yeah,
which is what that whole thumbnail was all about. But I don't know, man. There's something about your drink that just makes the people violent. Maybe it's because you named it after the Game of Thrones stuff.
Yeah,
just lose fights with gravity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, to be fair though, that's every drunk's problem. They'll eventually all succumb to gravity.
I'm gonna break that law someday.
You know, you kind of reminded me of something there for just a second, Prince. And I got to throw this out to you because I came up with it over the weekend. I think it's brilliant. And anybody who's ever like gone through puberty knows about it. It's called the gutter mind primacy clause. And it basically says when you take an innocuous statement and you turn it into a gutter idea by some single statement outside of the original statement, that the person who made that single statement is the person whose mind is in the gutter. So like if you're talking about geology and Bob says that's not hard enough to be effective, and Sally goes, that's what she said, you know, the primacy clause indicates that Sally has a dirty mind. So when Bob says, where are you from? And Sally says, that's racist, the primacy clause indicates that Sally is the one primarily concerned with race and therefore racist.
God,
Just throwing that out there.
Sally is not
If it-
only a pervert, but she's
Dude,
also a racist pervert. Fuck
If
Sally.
it were-
Exactly. Sally's a bitch.
If it weren't for the gutter man, mine would be homeless.
Oh, people are. My friends are in the chat. I'm gonna invite them.
Ew, people have friends. Ugh, that sounds awful.
I thought you were my friend.
Muhaha.
I have no friends.
you're so negative today, Fern.
She licked the wrong end of the battery.
You're supposed to lick both terminals at once, Fern.
I'm just really
I don't
high.
have a tongue that long.
Just one of the
Well,
D cells.
woe be as you.
I was promised a fight, and I don't get to argue with anyone.
You know what, Fern? I think you smell funny, and your mom dresses you weird.
She did used to dress me weird,
God damn it, you're not
Mine
fighting.
too.
What the hell am I trying for?
and I'm not even like I'm not joking. Like I legit need a shower. I smell like man, fucking crotch.
Do you say mon crotch?
Hello.
Hello, Ren.
No. I do. I had to dig deep to find a good reaction post to that one.
Did you like what I posted on Twitter?
Oh, and the second one was pretty good. That was funny.
I legit, you made my fucking Twitter feed cancer run. I don't.
That's what
Twitter
Ren
is-
does.
Twitter is for porn.
Well,
Hey.
let's see it in general.
Hey, Prince, can we get a view link in the side chat?
Oh, yeah, you can. Hold on.
Appreciate it, man.
But will you? No.
God damn it. Now, oh, there's the share button. There's like the, they have a new format that shows up on fucking,
Yeah.
An update just came out, so I'm like, fuck, new stuff.
yeah.
Oh, by the way, Dolphin, how you doing?
Pretty good. Pretty good. I'm coming around. I got everything settled out. I'm gonna ship your stuff out on Friday.
Yay!
I'm gonna make some ramen and an egg.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Jilly
Tuesday.
G gave me $2 for shits and giggles. Thank you very much. I could buy ramen with that.
Yes, you
Ramen is
could.
good. Ramen is life.
I'm currently trying to fundraise on my channel so my daughter can have birthday presents. Yay!
I'd have more ramen except for my wife. She doesn't like it when I eat a lot of salty stuff. I can't imagine why.
Did she steal your ramen?
No,
That's
she
all right.
just thinks that my blood pressure might be a tad high.
That's
No,
all right.
she just beats them regularly and makes them eat what she tells them to eat.
Fair enough.
I'm trying to get Patreon so I can bring the wolf to life because I'm
A shell a day, brother.
Couldn't you just like have only part of the flavor packet?
I don't know. It wouldn't taste right, would it? Would it?
You can get
it
low
tastes more
sodium.
watery.
I mean,
Put some other shit in there, maybe.
if
Oh
you
yeah,
want
I
a bunch.
usually put egg and vegetables if I have any. It's
Oh,
not like
you
it's
wanna-
just
you-
salt, but
You want to know what's really good ramen?
yeah.
Peas
get
and
the-
carrots.
You get the ramen nice and soft, right? You fry up
Yeah.
some bacon in the pan, then drain the noodles, and then dump the noodles in the bacon grease.
See, that was like the dirtiest thing I ever heard.
Less
Via-
salt, not more.
by
Hey,
a
do you mind
gutter
unfapping?
And then
primacy
and then you
clause.
add the flavor pack.
I'm
From
trying to eat healthy, so what I'm gonna need you to do is like just bacon grease.
Just
All
soak it,
bacon grease.
soak it up with the bread, and then leave the bread in the pan until it fries.
Allahu Akbar.
How you doing, Ryan, by the way?
Oh, that's not far.
I like a snack bar.
Allahu snack bar. Oh, you bitch.
Fuck you.
How you doing, Ren?
Good. How are you, Wolfie?
Ornery as ever.
Fun.
I want bacon now.
So do
I
I.
just want food in general.
Bacon.
Should we start a hashtag of Allahu Snack Bar and just have
Anybody
people
want bacon wrapped thorn?
have people making gifts of people eating bacon?
Oh.
Yeah, you know that I spent like most of Sunday Fun Days talking about this week talking about food for some reason.
Oh, no,
I'd say
it
bacon
was-
wrap.
we
I say
started
bacon wrapped
talking
bread,
about
but the
Waffle
only one that
House.
gets her is her husband.
Waffle House. We don't
We
have
started
those.
talking about Waffle House, and then it went into other foods, and then we started talking about chocolate cake shakes and a bunch of other stuff.
Oh yeah, we were talking about Waffle House because there's the Waffle House meter and how bad a disaster is by how many Waffle Houses are closed.
Yes, and that
You
led
know
to
you're
making,
fucked if there's not a Waffle House open within 20 miles.
You're fucked.
and then we kept talking about it because Jason kept saying he was hungry, so we're like, we're gonna keep on the subject.
Just keep talking about food just to fuck with him because we're evil, evil people.
God damn.
Well, yeah. Have you seen my Twitter feed?
Yes, I have. Sometimes I regret following you on Twitter because I will occasionally look at it while I'm at work and go, "Oh God!"
I swear all my Twitter feed has been for the last like week and a half is people calling me like fucking anti-black and then calling me anti-white and then being like, you're a fucking racist. So it's been
Of
fun.
course, I'm a racist. I hate all humans.
What has
Chicken and waffles.
what has been prompting such things?
Because some girl did like there's a music video by Tyler Creator called Who That Boy with A$AP Rocky. And in it his face gets blown off and he replaces it with a white guy's face. And some girl did the makeup and she was white, so she had like a black girl's face sewn on her face. And everyone's like, that's blackface and that's offensive. And I'm like, maybe you should like fucking read into the intent of something. Because I don't think every white bitch in a kimono is making fun of me. So y'all need to fucking chill.
You know what? You know what I think would really be beneficial for race relations in America? If Black History Month, instead of being Black History Month, were called Black Culture Month. It were held in April, and it was all about food, drink, and music of African American people.
Fuck that. April's my birthday, man. That's
So,
my month.
like, it'd be like Oktoberfest in April.
What would be wrong with
But
having
it's
chicken and
like-
waffles on your birthday?
Like, no,
It's
no,
my
no,
birthday too.
Exactly. No, I'm serious. Oktoberfest in April, call it Black Culture Month, and bring it all Black culture instead
No,
of
no, no, no.
But don't you think that would get awkward because people
No.
would, there would be
No,
some
that's-
person that was it would be,
Absolutely not. Look, that's watermelon harvest season. That is the time.
is it really?
It is.
Yep.
No. You got to do it. You got to do it in
And
June.
no. I love watermelon.
Is that why you picked it?
Brother
Oh my God.
Toberfest.
What is it, Red? You try to say something.
Look, any excuse to celebrate watermelon is good for me.
I'm allergic to it. Fuck you.
I grew up in a black neighborhood. Do not tell me I'm not allowed to eat fried chicken and watermelon. That's
Have you
what
ever had
all
mar-
my
Who doesn't like
adopted
fried
moms
chicken?
fed me.
Yeah, I grew up in
Yeah,
the South. Everybody eats that shit here.
Have you ever had watermelon margaritas? They're delicious.
I've always okay. So there's the stereotype about watermelon, and you know, like I have never necessarily noticed that to like actually be true in any sort of way. But like pretty much every black person I have ever known totally does eat fried chicken, and they say, yes, I do like fried chicken. I'm black. Like, what's the problem?
Well, that's
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
fried
Fried
chicken is
chicken.
amazing, and everybody
Yeah.
who has a brain eats
Yeah.
fried chicken.
Also,
I
the
like the
watermelon-
fried
I love
chicken
fried
myself.
The watermelon is a historical thing, but yeah.
Yeah, I get the impression that the watermelon stereotype had more to do with some time that does not exist anymore.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
slave food, essentially.
Well, yeah.
Oh.
Here's the thing about watermelon, particularly if you live in the South.
Wait,
I kid you not. You can spit seeds out into your yard in like a dry patch, and it will you will have watermelon in no fucking time.
Yeah.
It's basically it's black food, quote unquote, because it's poor people food. They
It's
forget
easy
that
to
white
grow.
people eat the same shit.
Yep.
It's just poor people food. That's all
It
it is.
actually comes from the north because they brought it up north with them when they left the south.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what
it's like-
stereotype
I'm
is.
allergic to watermelon. I don't want to hear it.
What's funny is it's very much like pork bellies, which were about as valuable as watermelon.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
yeah.
garbage
It's
food.
so
yeah.
good.
And
All-
chitlins can burn in
there's
hell.
All kinds of that shit.
Chitlins scare me.
Cheap
Chitlin's
food, we
disgusting.
turn it into. Oh yeah.
I agree there.
I've
Yeah.
never had one.
I've actually had the displeasure of having somebody open a bucket of raw ones. It smells like a toilet.
Oh.
I'm sorry, you should not be eating that. You should
What-
not eat
what are you-
anything that smells like a bathroom.
Hold on. Who is talking and what are you talking about?
Chitlins,
What-
chitterlings,
Yeah,
whatever.
those are
You're-
gross, and I commend the bravery of whatever poor and hungry motherfucker first.
You know what? You know what? You know what? Kick him
What?
from the stream. I no longer believe in free speech. Kick him from the stream right now.
Fuck you,
I
they're
know.
gross.
Bullshit. This is
You
bullshit.
couldn't hold a gun to my head and make me eat that stuff.
What the hell is wrong with you? What?
They're disgusting.
What the?
It's the
They're
part that
gross.
holds poop.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
It's the part of the pig that holds the shits.
No. Chitlins, as in like chicken livers and
Oh,
chitlins.
No. I meant chitterlings, as in like pig intestines and like the bit that's left over.
Yeah,
from the
I
rest
think you're
of it.
thinking of giblets or something.
Yeah, you're talking
Giblets,
about speaking of
yeah.
giblets. Yeah,
I love giblets. Giblets are great.
Organs are fine. You know, like liver and heart and all that. That's fine.
All right,
Chitlins
'cause
is
I was gonna
literally
like.
Try them
intestines.
chicken livers and chicken hearts. Oh my god, it's
I was
like
about to,
chicken
like-
nuggets with some fight in them.
Chitterlings is like lower intestine, and bowel.
Yeah,
that
there's
shit's
going to be a
gross.
legit rampage there. I'm sorry.
There's a reason why I wouldn't eat my family. My family used to make the secret family recipe for stuffing. There's a reason I didn't touch stuffing for years because they'd put turkey gizzards in it, and it was like, ew.
I actually like turkey gizzard,
Yeah, they're pretty good.
They're all
Yeah.
right.
but like only the stomach. Like I'm good with the rest. You can keep. Yuck.
Pretty much, yeah.
Now,
Well,
my family would dump the entire bag of the innards into the gravy.
Yeah, no, thank you. My grandmother picked out the bits she liked and cooked those.
I always liked them fried.
Okay, I put enough of that fucking seasoning in. I don't need to make myself.
Prince is still making
Full of-
ramen.
Yeah, making the ramen.
He's making the ramens while he's talking on the YouTubes.
Yeah,
Rollins and YouTube's, man.
You need peas
Not 'cause
and
I'm
carrots, little half
poor or
cans.
anything.
I'm gonna go
Yeah,
carry my
freaking
computer
the
into the
fuck
kitchen
out.
with myself, with me,
Hey,
and
hey.
get some iced tea.
If it makes you feel any better, Prince, I've actually made ramen for my whole family, and I got 3 kids. So
My kids
made
consider
ramen
ramen
like-
a treat.
as dinner,
Yeah, no, Dolphin. My kids consider ramen a treat for dinner at this point.
yeah, they're like, "What do you mean? I don't have to eat all that crazy like health food you make me?"
No.
I hated ramen.
There
growing
was
up.
a week we
No.
lived off peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Yeah.
I was under the impression,
My
Dolphin,
kids, we can have healthy meals all throughout the week, and I'd be like, "What do you want for dinner?" They'd be like, "Ramen." All 6 of them.
I'll hear
Dolphin,
pizza.
I was under the impression your kid's still breastfed.
No. I have 1 kid who's still on a teat, and then I have 2 kids who, they're 11 and 12. So
What do you
no,
want for dinner, boob?
Oop.
The boobs.
you know,
Free
I
speaking
got
boobs.
at
Things CNN won't let you talk about.
Boobs.
Now, where is a bowl?
I don't
have any bowls. Damn it.
correct me if I'm wrong. Fox is the conservative network, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
what the fuck is
But
happening?
what the hell's with CNN? If Fox had said no boobs, I'd be like, okay, fine, I'll roll with that. That's
They
I
went
get it.
so far left, they came back around on the right side again.
that's what it's.
Wait,
like,
what
the
is going
whole
on with-
segregation and all?
You know-
No, that was never.
no.
That was never
All
a
right.
right wing thing.
All right, so this CNN thing, I had the perfect response to it. I think it was brilliant. So CNN, the lady anchor is like, "Oh my god, did you just say boobs?" "Oh no, I'm sorry, I wasn't referring to yours. Yours aren't very nice." So never mind. And she would have gone apoplectic in the other direction. She would have been like, "Oh my god, you don't like my boobs?" But like, you just got through saying that they're not the center of your world. So what the fuck?
Yeah, it's like,
Yes.
I'd have turned around that minute and been like, "Oh no, not yours. Yours aren't that very nice. Yours aren't really nice."
A comedian said boobs to on a CNN anchor show, and she flipped the fuck out.
Well, he
What did he-
didn't say tits.
He
Yeah,
said,
tits is a swear word.
"I believe in the First Amendment and boobs."
I don't think, I am starting to. I've been meaning to make this video for a while, but it hasn't quite formulated yet. But I want to make a video that's about why I think the Democrats are kind of a more conservative party in a lot of ways. I don't know how to phrase it, I guess is the problem. Because I don't know, I don't want to say that they're the more conservative party necessarily, because there's definitely conservative values that are still in the conservatives and Republicans. But at the same time, like, feminism to me is a conservative concept, because it's what's been going on for 40 years, and it has, gotten itself warmed its way into law everywhere, to the institutions, and all of media. So, men's rights is the actual progressive thing at the moment. If you were to actually,
I know what you should name it. The
Prince.
video.
Yeah.
You should name the video. Ha! The horseshoe theory is real. Fuck all the niggas that laughed at Fern, because she was right as fuck.
No. I got you.
Yeah.
Hey, Prince. I've been thinking about this for several years, and I really want you to think about this. Conservative is the new liberal. Really?
Only because the liberals have gone that far to the left.
I don't think.
well, and they won't let anybody have a differing opinion, which is what I think is, when I think of conservatism, I think of people who are very, very stubborn because they want things to be the way they are, and that's what it seems like the left is like right now.
Exactly.
I no longer have a Facebook because I got death threats.
I would say that it's more akin to the idea of the moral Puritans out there, and I don't think it's fair to say that liberals or conservatives are like that. I think that they're individual people who just invade popular groups. Prior to the liberals being the moral busybodies that they are, it was actually more or less along the conservatives, but they have a religious leaning behind that because they infected religion at that point, like being Christians and all that.
We went from religious authoritarians to SJW authoritarians.
And they're essentially the exact same people. They are the exact same people. They're just in a different group. And I think that had we had been a more religious, or had America in particular had still been a religious thing, they would have still infected that area. It doesn't matter if it was conservative or liberal; they'll find their ways to get in. It's the same thing with the comic industry. It's the same thing with the gaming industry. These are all separate stuff, but they find their ways in on.
Well, I don't understand how this works in the comic and the gaming industry, because these are for-profit industries. They should be. They should be focusing on what the customer wants, not social politics.
There is definitely the argument to be made that maybe things like comic books are no longer actually profitable, and they are kept alive by government feeding them money, which is completely legal. Like in 2012, Obama legalized the usage of propaganda on the American people. So it is perfectly legal.
I remember that.
Perfectly legal for them to pay media companies if they want to just push their agenda. But gaming is actually profitable. Like, people actually buy games all the time, so it's weird to that's also maybe one of the reasons that the Gamergate people fought back and were successful in fighting back so well.
Here's the thing. It happens for the same reason that Hollywood will and did for quite a while put out movies. I mean, that basically bombed at the box office that had a hard political agenda, rather than kind of soft selling it. It's because these people have the money to spend. The problem is a lot of these other corporations think, like the comic book industry, think that they have that kind of money, and they don't. Like the Marvel is having sales problems because of this. And it's not like the first time they've ever done it, because the thing is, they forgot how to be subtle. They forgot how to be open-ended. Like the X-Men has always been a political commentary, but what it is was so broadly open to interpretation that people have taken interpretations for it to mean something about race, something about sex or gender, or any number of things. And that was the beauty of it. It was primarily a superhero story with a subtext of a political allegory. They don't do allegory anymore. They just sort of shove it in your face.
Yeah.
Well, hello, Mr. K.
Unwanted dick.
Somebody in the chat has pointed out that the Conservative Party of today, recently almost exactly mirrors the Liberal Party of John F. Kennedy. And I would agree. Like, JFK is definitely one of my favorite guys out there. But
was a mixed bag, but he's not as everybody. The thing is, he has this aura of grandeur that the Democrats love, and they love the fact that he was a Democrat. But when you look at his policies and the things that he was for, in some cases,
wow, that was a hell of a sound delay.
It's a much more of a mixed bag. They forget about all that shit because they just talk about the stuff that they loved.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I was going to say also about the horseshoe theory. What's funny is that way back in the 30s, there was kind of a push of, and it died. I forget why, but it died. I could look it up. It's basically there were Christians for communism at one point in the U.S. I kid you not. Because when the ultra liberal people talk about, well, Jesus would have been a communist, they're not. They're not being original. They don't know it, but it's happened before.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, it's way back. I'd have to. Well, I'll go dig it up. Dox amongst yourself.
If you go back to like 750 AD in Brittany, though, Jesus would have crucified people who didn't believe in his religion. So, I mean, there's fluctuations throughout the eras. Anyway, that's being said, I'm going to go ahead and abandon you guys. Thank you for having me on, Prince. I do appreciate it.
Yeah, see you later, Dolphin.
Later, Dolphin.
Yeah. Peace, guys.
Bye.
I was going to say, in regards to...
Oh, damn, I lost him.
Yeah, I was going to say, in regards to the comics and video games areas, it's often been said that people of a more social justice leaning don't go into these things to make money, but they want to get into these areas to be in areas of influence. Video games are very popular, and there's a lot of influence that can be achieved through video games. And with the advent of the superhero genre movies just skyrocketing popularity, there's a reason to be in this. There's an area of of influence that you can achieve by working in comic books. So, I mean, like right now, Marvel is tanking, sure, but they're still pushing out all this propaganda and all this kind of stuff, and that's an area of influence.
Yeah, and SJWs have this habit of like getting mad at at media and pop stars and stuff if they aren't political enough. Like they got mad at Lady Gaga because they wanted her Super Bowl halftime show to be some like anti-Trump tirade or something, but it wasn't at all. Like
she saw the signs coming that Trump was going to win, and she saw the signs that it'd be like career suicide if you keep going with this. And she did the smart thing and like, you know what? I'm done with politics. I'm not talking about it. She didn't outright say it, but you could just tell she's staying away from that. When you look at other people like Stephen Colbert, who used to be like really popular, now all he ever talks about is Trump most of the times, and his popularity is just plummeting. So
he was kind of like that with Bush, though. And that's what got him popular. But like at the same time, during the Bush years, we didn't really the vast majority of people weren't on social media. Colbert was on. He was only a side thing on The Daily Show. And The Daily Show was the only show that was like that. It was this kind of a thing where like The Daily Show was this speaking truth to power thing, and there wasn't a whole bunch of other like snarky liberals because despite the fact that so many people talked shit about Bush, people in mainstream media didn't talk shit about Bush because they saw what happened to the Dixie Chicks. And also to Bill Maher.
Than I do then. That's I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying we have different memories of it. Apparently,
maybe we do too.
Maybe we do, but like, okay, it was still a little bit more taboo to it's completely 100% okay to just say everything you want about Trump and how he's just horrible and horrible. And if you
it's much worse. Yes,
if you don't talk shit about Trump, people would get mad at you and say that you're not talking enough shit about Trump. Whereas with George W. Bush, as soon as war broke out, there was kind of a thing where like people were supposed to be patriotic and you could potentially get in trouble for not doing that. So a lot of people were scared. I'm not going to say everybody, but clearly the Daily Show was sort of this like bastion of being critical of the Republican Party when they were in power then. Not a whole lot of people were. And now Jon Stewart is not on this fucking show anymore, and Trevor Noah is trying, but Trevor Noah, like, no one really likes him that much. And then there's fucking Samantha Bee, and it's just like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ. And Colbert, Jesus fucking Christ. What happened? So... yeah.
The minor amount of like work that you would put into looking into Trevor Noah, you can tell he's a corporate shill for the Qatar Prince royal family, and that in itself tells you that this guy's an enemy of the country. He should not be on the Daily Show. In regards to Colbert, I think what was great about him prior to what he is now, he was on the thing called the Colbert Report, and that was a very particular type of humor, and the humor was like a lot of what he would say sounds so much like word salad, but it was always so vague that it could be a bash at Republicans, could be a bash at liberals. It was kind of vague, but it had such a creative use of language, and that's why I particularly loved listening to him. But he abandoned that when he got his new job on the night show or whatever the thing he is doing now, and now he's just pathetic. I mean, there's no creativity in what he does nowadays, and it's just not worth it.
I'm gonna cut in real quick. Hey, Base Mama.
Hey, Based.
Hey.
What's up, Based Mama?
She'll acknowledge us when she's on.
There I go. No, it wouldn't let me get back to the call to unmute myself. Sorry.
It seems such a traditionally conservative thing to do, to police art and free expression, but like now it's the liberals doing it. Like, don't get me wrong, there's still fucking conservatives going like fucking...
do not do that.
Well,
right wingers might do that, and left wingers might do that, but liberals and conservatives really are. That's just a label. Conservatives don't really monitor. They're more like small government, freedoms. Liberals are more like big government freedoms. But when you have the extremes on either end, the
entirety of the idea of conservatism is to conserve a traditional way of life. That's why it's called.
That's not correct. Not in the U.S. anyway.
Let me ask right quick. Am I
on this one?
Is there anyone else in here who self-identifies as a conservative?
This guy right here.
Okay. So I'm not alone.
It's totally what that in England, that shit to be a conservative is to conserve.
Well, yeah, I understand.
Yeah, but here it means to conserve your freedoms and American values. And
I was raised Republican.
It's complicated. So it's one of those. It's a broad category.
Yeah, I was.
And I suppose it probably changes. Because everybody's like trying to be like, well, freedom of speech is a conservative value now, and it's like, I'm resisting that, but it's like, I maybe it is. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Why is free speech even a fucking political issue in the goddamn U.S.? All right, it's our first and most fundamental fucking right.
Well, I think that the thing that people misunderstand often about conservative is there is a lot of particular paleo conservatives, particularly old school people, who will tell you that you shouldn't say something, but will resist the urge to make it a law.
Yeah, they might go.
That's the subtle difference that a lot of political compass has fuck up. Is that there are a lot of things that where I would prefer people to not be sluts and man whores, but I don't want to. It doesn't mean I want it to ban it. You know what I'm saying?
I don't like it, but I don't like it,
right.
But I just don't want to see it.
Or nudity on TV. I'm not opposed to it for like pay channels, but general public channels. Probably not so great for the kids. Keep it after hours at least, I don't want to make it illegal. I'm just like, hey, look, can we, basically societal pressure and cultural pressure instead of laws, maybe,
Yeah.
Yeah, but like you had the religious right in the 80s. Remember, you were playing like fucking Frogger and Centipede, and you got Billy Graham on fucking TV talking about how
Oh,
The
please,
goddamn Atari was the tabernacle of the devil.
Yeah.
Billy Graham's
now-
just a lolcow at this point.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is now that same bullshit is coming from the left. It's still the tabernacle
that's
of the
exactly
devil.
point I was trying to make.
It's yeah,
The
but that's what
devil.
I'm saying. It's
You're
the,
right,
it's
yeah,
the
that's
extremes on
Devil's
both
making
sides,
shit.
though.
Devil.
And I don't think anybody would claim that.
can't
That's
fucking
what I'm saying. Because even the Democratic Party is like, okay, y'all a little bit too fucking crazy for us.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck the Democrats, first of all.
Well, and then Antifa says liberals get the bullet too. So they are clearly drawing a fucking distinction between themselves and liberals, which the religious right did the same thing back in the 80s. They were like, you're not right wing enough for us. So now we're the religious right, not just the right.
Yeah. And how to put this? I'm a Republican because that's the closest I'm going to get. Because libertarians are never going to get elected. I can't vote for. I don't trust the Democrats, and so it's not because I am a diehard, do support everything they do. On the contrary, but I can't get everything I want unless I'm king.
I just think it seems weird for a country with such diverse ideals and ways of thinking, and just how each state runs very differently from each other in comparison to federal law. It seems weird to have a two-party system. Seems like counterintuitive.
There's actually
really
a
shitty
for that.
No.
There's some reasons it happened on accident because we've had third parties occasionally, but a large part of it is the presidential election process, but also, and I know this sounds weird, but as an unintended side effect of it, and I know this is going to sound really weird right now, but if you compare it to other places, it drives both parties towards the center somewhat, because otherwise they can't get the middle ground's votes.
Well, look at the far right and the far left. My God, they're insane.
Yeah, they couldn't get elected on their own. But if it were a parliamentary system where you had, like I can't remember, like several other places have dozens of parties. Like Canada's a good example. There would be a Nazi party with seats in Congress because these coalitions would have to happen. So what you get is the very, very far fringes have to either join up with one of the two larger groups, or basically mute themselves, mute their rhetoric considerably to get any participation. So it's weird, but it actually makes the diversity of ideas work better. The trade-off is you have the two parties fighting constantly. So
we have a parliamentary system here, and we've only ever had, before the coalition in 2010 and this coalition now, it was nearly like fucking 70 years since we had a coalition government.
Yeah, Great Britain doesn't have as big of a problem with it, I don't think. So I was just making a very, very broad generalization about parliamentary systems.
No, I understand. I mean, like the Nazi Party got in on 33% of parliamentary votes in Germany. So
wow,
it says it all.
Well, yeah, because they weren't. Well, there were two parties fighting. There was the National Socialists and the Fascists.
They were a coalition party.
Yeah, but they just sided with the National Socialists, and that's how you got the Nazi Party in power. Because the media backed them. Like that's one of the things that people ignore. They were at war very much like, ideological war and sometimes actual street war, just like we are in the U.S. right now. But because the fascists were more violent, that's why the Nazi Party won. They were just the less bloodthirsty of the two, basically. Because the Weimar Republic didn't give a fuck about the people. They were like, whatever, we're just going to do whatever we want to do. They like the EU now.
They did a real good job of backstabbing all their political competition.
There's a number of people on the left wing that are saying that Antifa is actually secretly the alt-right, and that it's like a conspiracy to try to push the alt-right agenda. Because they're finally realizing that it's actually powering the alt-right.
So now it's a conspiracy that Antifa. That's just stupid. I think Antifa and alt-right may be on equal footing, but they're two different groups.
Yeah, people really shouldn't contribute to malice what could be adequately explained by stupidity.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we've all seen publicly all these, like, overweight middle-aged women talking about how they're gonna go punch Nazis. It's like you don't have to fucking get some paid alt-right protester infiltrator from to fucking do that shit, because people are encouraging everybody to do it anyway.
I think if you're traditionally on the left and you know what it means to be on the left, and you know what's behind it, because it's completely different in my country to be on the left. Because when we say the left, we mean what you guys would consider quite far across the board.
Yeah.
Fucking social systems, the NHS, schools, prisons, to an extent nationalized travel and water and electric.
Yeah.
And it's just mad to see your left, because your left is just so, and ours is becoming, because we Americanize ourselves, because apparently we can't just do stuff on our own anymore. But we're becoming identitarian. We're becoming who is the best virtue signaler on the left. And it's not what the left here in England was about the working man. It was about the working man who pays a little too much in taxes, who gets a little too little from the big fat cats on top, and finding a way of making it fair.
That's what I grew up with.
To an extent, I think that's what America's left was about. It was about preserving the middle class.
I think that's what it was. Yeah. I think that's what it was marketed as, at least, certainly.
Yeah.
But now it's who can I get in my hug box to make them feel good? When really what we should be striving for, if you're truly left-wing and you truly believe in being progressive and progressing us as a fucking species, we should be looking towards the best equality of fucking opportunity. Equality of outcome means shit, because the world is a meritocracy. And if you're shit at everything, you're going to have a shit life.
Well,
Fern, that's a very conservative thing to say.
Yeah, and Fern,
it really is.
it's that is what we should be doing. But unfortunately, you have one group that wants equality of outcome, and they're going to keep pushing for it. And the only way that we'd ever really get to the point of equality of opportunity is if they admit that it's not just these quote-unquote marginalized groups that need help.
The only equality of outcome you're going to get is keeping people from being on the streets and starving to death. That's the only equality of outcome you can. The basic needs of a human being being taken care of.
I don't want people dying in the street.
No, exactly. I don't want anyone like that, and that's why I'm really for the NHS in our country, because we'd be fucked. We don't have fucking disposable incomes over here. Houses cost fucking too much for too little.
Fern, you just said something. What's disposable income?
What? Yeah, what's that?
No. Yeah, I understand what you mean, and it's a very noble impulse. I understand that kind of thing. From lefties, I understand. I get that actually is a noble impulse, and in a better world we can achieve that and afford it.
In America, it's not possible. I understand that.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's possible over there, but that's me.
It was possible before they stopped taxing everyone fairly and started taxing fucking ridiculous tariffs on anyone earning like over fucking 50,000, because apparently everything over 50,000 is like balling out rich.
I just realized that Mr. is right-wing BDSM guy who I met in person.
What's up? How's it going?
Sorry, I was just looking at Twitter and then I was like, wait, I know that guy.
We met up my brother from a human mother.
What does being right-wing BDSM involve?
It basically it means that you don't feel guilty about smacking your wife in the ass until she says the safe word. If you're left wing, you do.
And what's wrong with that?
I thought that was
Nothing. But you know, the left wing, the current left wing, the feminists would tell you you're supposed to feel guilty about that. She's supposed to be the one spanking you, even though she's the submissive, and you're the one going.
And then no. And then she goes in private and watches literally the raunchiest fucking porn.
Oh, I know, right?
Holy hell!
Red. He's not the only dominant here. I am one too.
Oh no! See, I'm not a dominant by inclination. Somebody has to be. I'm actually kind of neutral. I'm not a switch or anything. I'm just like, I do it because it amuses my wife. You know, that's what she's into, so I help out.
He's the 50 Shades of Grey kind of guy. We are the real ones.
Yeah, I'm not. I would never lie and say I'm a dominant. I play one for the amusement of my wife. It's it's fun, but it's not a kink I have. It's something I enjoy, but I don't seek it out. If she weren't into it, I wouldn't bother.
I'm using argument from personal experience here, but every single feminist I knew had a fucking rape fetish.
No, yes. Oh my god, you too.
Well, see, here's the thing. This
a number of them I've known. Yeah.
Ladies, correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I think
friends with more feminists.
Part of the rape fantasy
I agree.
Is secret. Somewhere there's a core of a woman who wants to be so attractive that a man would violate social norms just to be with her.
I mean, she could be so ugly.
Well,
like
you know what I mean.
Woman or something.
You can to be able to successfully arouse a man that he would just lose his sense of propriety and just give you a hard one without asking.
Basically, just bend her over, grab her by the handful of hair, and
I think
slam it hard.
Grab her by the pussy.
I think part of the reason also for that is because you look at the roles, like from a gender perspective, you have men who are usually the dominant, women who are usually the submissive. Well, the role of the dominant for most guys is like hyper masculinized versions of guys. And I think that there's something about women who are actually super attractive. I mean, if you listen to feminists, they always talk about how violent men are, how all this is. And essentially it boils down to they're just projecting what they're looking for in a man. And really, when you listen to them, it's like, okay, I'll keep that in mind, sweetheart, when we're alone. Which is creepy.
I
find it weird.
Nasty. You just want to rape me. Well, here's my address if you want to rape me. Yeah.
I find it odd.
I'll take you in the back room and smack your ass until you call me the patriarchy.
I find it odd that women, like feminists, are like, oh, just behind closed doors, are like, oh, I like to be sexually objectified, and it's
kind of like the reason why Catholic girls are such giant perverts. They're told they can't. They're told it's wrong.
It really does lend credence to. And I don't know if this is for every woman that's been raped, but like the rape fantasy after being raped does nothing for me. It's like no.
Well, yeah, the reality it's kind of like got dudes that are really into the concept of fighting, and then they get their ass beat once. They're like, all right, I'm gonna slow my roll. It's not comparable to rape. Don't get me wrong, but the reality will sometimes ruin fantasy for you. That's all I was saying.
Yeah. To me, it lends credence to the idea that most of it is bullshit from these women.
Yeah. Also, there's a negative connotation now, so then you just
It's like if you've been sexually assaulted or raped or anything like bad sexually happens to you, you usually don't want that thing to happen again.
No. Jesus Christ.
Right. Unless in a perfect world, like obviously, like there's the rape fantasy, and then there's the traditional woman's view of the rape fantasy, where like a man wants you so much that at the last moment you yield and you give yourself to him, but you never say it.
Yeah,
it's romanticizing something horrible,
or romanticizing something that. Well, how to put this is just walking the line of horrible, because they don't really want to be raped. They want that sensation of danger and overwhelming desire, but they want that moment where the woman gives in that it's consensual, because then it's not really rape. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody wants to have their ass savagely beaten. But it's
I beg to differ.
Yeah, I've met some weird girls that
okay.
I think a lot of them want a safe word, or at least to be able to like have full consent ahead of the act happening.
I don't necessarily want to take off. Bloody lip.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Thorn.
Thanks for coming on.
Well, that's why there's a difference between BDSM and that. BDSM is everyone, the people involved all are consenting. It's just the woman wants to give up the control for a while.
It's
like, here you go. You can do what you want. You're in charge.
Yeah, it's the illusion of danger. That's why men like sports. It's controlled chaos. It's controlled fighting.
Say something?
Sure.
That's why there's always negotiations. There's hard limits, soft limits, yada yada yada, stuff like that. There's always negotiations.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I'm not into it with anybody but my wife or somebody I know really well, because I don't know you. You know, I don't have telepathy, but if I know you, that's different. But if I don't know you, fuck it. We're just gonna do the normal stuff, okay?
You know me, Red. You know me.
I don't know you that well.
I think you have
I'm
to
also
know your
very
partner
straight.
because if they like
So am
wince
I.
or make a face or whatever, you have to know them well enough to know, like, is that a please keep going wince or a okay stop right now wince?
Yeah, exactly.
That's why some people have.
Was that a harder daddy, or whoa, that's too hard?
Yeah.
That's why a lot of your dominants have the red light.
Yeah.
Red means completely stop. Yellow means I like that, keep going. But if I tell you to stop, stop. Yeah. Then there's the green. Oh fuck yeah, keep it going.
Yeah.
Wait, how do you change the light? Like,
no,
it's usually verbal unless you have a gag in. Then
you have a gag in, yeah.
So you say green.
Yeah.
If you have a gag, in, you say you have symbols.
Like
usually for gags, you usually say
This is like the one time I feel like consent, like consistent, reafirmed consent, would be like the good idea.
I was actually just talking on a stream.
Or you're trying something new, yeah. But if you're doing something you've done before, you know them really well. That's a little bit. Even then, it's like, hey, just a small break of, hey, you cool? We good? I was too tight. Are you good? Okay, good.
Yeah, but like every 30 seconds is like, okay, I lost my lady boner. Get off me.
Yeah, that's a bit. Yeah, every 30 seconds is a bit much.
Okay, I was just talking to my friend who went to Burning Man, and he is a men's rights advocate type, and he said it was really annoying because there was a number of people who like were big about talked about affirmative consent with sexual encounters, and to make sure to ask whether people are into it and blah blah blah. But I don't think that that's absurd in at a place like Burning Man and at sex parties, because commonly
everybody's already naked, so naked isn't a go ahead.
Well, these people often get naked, and they often take a lot of substances, and there's some weird shit that can happen if I'm not encouraging drug use, but if somebody does happen to say do a bunch of mushrooms, they might be totally like their eyes could be open and maybe they're even moving around a little bit, but they forgot how to talk. Like shit like that happens. And so somebody could be being touched and they're semi-aware of it, but they aren't sure if they like it or not, and they certainly couldn't explain whether they like it or not to the other person. And so it would be a good idea to try to like maybe ask, hey, is this cool? Are you into this? Because if the person doesn't respond, then it's like, okay, you're actually really, really high, and I'm just going to leave you alone. And that is likely to happen at Burning Man.
And that's the way it should be.
Yeah, I would think an unresponsive sex partner would be like just a little stop sign right there.
Yeah, but it's very different than, a college campus in which, for the most part, I mean, it's probably not that uncommon when people use mushrooms on college campuses. I'm not really sure what I'm saying, but at the same time, the majority of hookups probably aren't in situations in which you're with a relative stranger and you're on like psychedelics.
Yeah, that seems like a bad. Yeah, that seems like an ill-advised idea. Psychedelics with strangers.
Most of us, when we're doing scenes, do not encourage drug use.
No, you need to do that shit at least mostly sober. Yeah. Just I will say, not for that sort of scene, but I am waiting for pot to be legalized in L2. So my zone of space, because I want to try it like pot brownies or something, and then do it. That would be funny. According to the wife, she giggles constantly while high, so that should be entertaining.
That would be
her
so
sister
annoying.
made pot brownies one time, and she didn't know they were pot brownies. She giggled for half an hour.
That would be
Your
so
state
annoying,
actually
though.
follows the weed laws?
Well, I do, and my wife does. Because we're accident prone. The last thing we need is something that would throw either of us in jail. But if something can go wrong in my life, it probably will. So we try to avoid illegal behavior. Her sister is a different case altogether, and has suffered. Her life has suffered for it because she does all the things that she probably shouldn't do and gets caught for it. So
This is why you learn on how not to get caught.
Well, see, that's something that apparently does not run in that family. Mine neither. Well, actually, no. My brother and sister manage to get high on a fairly regular basis and not get caught. So does my mother, for that matter. I'm just like, no. I have all kinds of fucked up shit wrong. So I'm just waiting for it to be legal here someday.
I know in a lot of states the cops don't even care anymore.
No, they often don't. As long as you're like carrying enough to traffic, they don't care. If it's a personal bag, like a dime bag or something, you're probably good. As long as you're not an asshole about it, you'll probably be fine. But I'm just saying, I will find the asshole. I mean, I got jacked one time just for driving while tired. Fortunately, adrenaline is a great wake-up procedure because these two brothers were not having it. But I was dead awake, and I did the sobriety test perfectly, and they were like, "What is wrong with you?" I was like, "I'm just really tired, man. I don't want to go home. I'm like 2 miles from home. Just let me go home."
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. There's both of these cops. I'm like 22, and these two cops are fucking huge and black, and it was dark. I couldn't read their expressions. I couldn't tell if they were mad at me or or if they thought this was funny.
They probably
it was dark and they were black.
It's probably they thought it was funny and went, "Oh, poor kid."
This poor white boy needs to go home. I was tired. But yeah, so that's the kind of luck I have, so I don't push it.
Yeah, I can understand. If you got pulled over for being tired, you'd probably be the kind of person to call 911 on yourself.
Yeah, that's where I'm like, no, we're just not taking any chances.
So I have a funny story about affirmative consent.
Oh boy.
So I have epilepsy, so I have seizures, and I was I'll tell you the first story, and then I'll tell you the affirmative consent story because they're both great stories. So I was having relations with my then boyfriend, and I had a seizure, and I passed out and hit my head, and he, like an idiot, was like, "Oh my god, dad," screaming for his dad. And his dad found me naked on his son's bedroom floor.
Wait, so how did you passed out because of the seizure, or did you like hit your head?
I had a seizure, and as I was like going over, I hit my head. So he like freaked out and thought I was like gonna die.
Well, I can understand that.
You could have like put a towel over me or some shit. And then the second time we were having sex, and sometimes I completely lose my short-term memory for like it's weird. It can be anywhere from like the last 2 hours to the last like 2 years. I'll lose for like a minute to like 30. And we were having again relations, and I must have gone I'm gonna have a seizure, so I lay down. I had a seizure, and I woke up naked next to a man who was naked, in a house I didn't recognize. I didn't recognize the guy at the time. So I'm just like fucking wilding out, throwing hands, like jumping on the bed, like trying to fucking hit him. He's like fending me off with a pillow. I'm like, fucking rapist, you dirty fucking rapist.
Oh.
And he's just like, yo, chill, it's me. And like my brain snaps back and I'm like, oh. I'm gonna go
sorry.
put my on. Go get
I'd go from a boner to a softie really quick.
It's really like it was very awkward because I had it, like I developed it when I was like 18. So obviously when you're at your peak of sexual like freedom,
and then wow,
it made an awkward conversation on one night stands if I had one.
That would be a bit awkward. Yeah.
So make sure you have your epilepsy medication sorted out before you go and hoe about, kids.
That's good advice.
I can only imagine if you're having relations and then you're having a seizure right then and there, and the guy's like, "What the fuck's going on?" as he's holding on to you. That's like, imagine if that was his first.
That's a bit of a rough ride there.
If that was his first time, he'd be like, "I'm never having sex again. When we're too delicate, then I can't do this."
My favorite line of a guy was like, "I thought I killed you with my dick."
Really?
I mean, you know,
kind of like the reverse Chris Ray gun. His dick cures cancer.
Hey, Fern.
No, his dick cures feminism.
Fern,
I don't
what's
know
your
if it
Twitter?
completely cured it though, but still, it's a treatment.
Oh wait, yeah, feminism is cancer. Never mind.
I mean, like, it's just my current other half. Just like sometimes I lose my like ability to speak as well. So like, I like stutter, and he'll just sit there, and he's like, "What's that, lassie? Little Timmy's down the well."
I know I'm going to hell for laughing at that.
I know.
I have a question for you, Fern.
Yeah.
Do you sometimes lose the ability to speak when you take your meds? Like if you have to bump up a dose, you like get slurred speech or sloppy speech?
I do with like my fentanyl. Like if I forgot to take a patch off, like opiates make me slur, but I'm not. None of my like anticonvulsives have ever done that to me.
Oh, because gabapentin does that to me. So I'm like, is it
Oh
just
no
me?
shit! Yeah, I wasn't on it for epilepsy. I was on it for like I've got like a fucking pain disorder, and like it makes me sweat and slur and just forget everything.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking. Because other people I've known, they're like, no, I don't have any problem with it, and I'm like, well, how much are you taking? They're like, oh, like 600 a day, and I'm like, oh, I'm like on 1,200 a day, so like if they bump me from 900 to 1,200, I just sound like I'm drunk.
It's weird with some meds though. The more you take, the less the side effects affect you sometimes. Like that was what it was like with Capra for me.
Oh. I was just curious. Because then my fiance is like, are you drunk or Neurontin? Drunk or Neurontin? Because if you're drunk, we're going to do it. If it's Neurontin, you're going to barf.
No, I'll trip over words even now. Like I just like blah, 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 word salad. I'm just like,
so, are there times he just takes a chance and goes for it until he hears the fart?
I think it should be stated that given the amount of children I have, I'm pretty much always DTF.
True.
I just.
So I'm not going to say no, and if I say no, it's because I'm either in horrible, agonizing pain, and you probably don't want to hit on me like that anyway, or I'm so hammered, I'm just going to pass out. I've literally fallen asleep on my porch before, because here's something they don't tell you with the anticonvulsants. is that when you first start taking them, you shouldn't drink at all. And I'm already an easy drunk, like 2 drinks and I'm like plastered.
Oh yeah,
When
you
I
get
first
fucked
started,
up real quick, real heavy.
oh yeah. I was taking the gabapentin and they started me on trileptal at the same time. I don't know, 1 banana daiquiri, and I was like, I'm just gonna lay down here on the porch and go to sleep. It's fine, you go to bed. I'm just gonna sleep here, and I did. I slept outside.
I tried to keep up with like I got put on Capra and I was on like gabapentin and amitriptyline and like a whole other host. I was like fentanyl and fucking codeine and tramadol as well. So I was on a whole like butt fuck ton of drugs you should not drink on, and I was trying to keep up with my male university friends.
Oh dear.
Oh, hey, Critical Cracker.
I was a fucking. Apparently, I went up to a guy that I found attractive and was like, "I like your face." I'd said on it, and he wouldn't talk to me for the rest of the night. He was like one of my mates' mates.
He like didn't even recognize him. He's like, oh, I'm shit faced. I don't give a fuck.
You know, like that creepy guy at the bar that's just like a little too forward.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine like a 4'8" female version of that. That was me that night.
It's just one of those things about life that when you find a girl who's like that, it's slightly amusing and adorable. When a dude does it, it's just
well, there's a difference.
Oh yeah, and I'm not saying there's not reasons, but it's one of those vagarities of life where you're just like, yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. Well,
you know.
I'm not a MGTOW. I'm not butthurt over it.
Well, yeah, it's my favorite thing too. It's like women go, well, women don't have that much power. It's like, really? If a woman's drunk at a bar and says, I want to blow a guy, there's probably like a line of men that line up going, hi.
Let's do this. Just please tell me you're not gonna have a fit and bite my dick off.
That's also nearly happened once.
You have said that in a bar?
No, I mean, I've had like a seizure during.
Oh man!
Ow!
While in performance.
I know, like I can tell when I'm like about to go. So I was like, I don't feel, but just like fucking belly, like head into his balls. But thankfully, it didn't like bite down.
Oh. It's fucking dangerous to date you because this is what I'm learning.
I'm good now. I only have them in my sleep now, so I'm dangerous to sleep next day.
At least that's
so you just get your own twin beds, or how does that work out? Like, now I'm just curious.
It sounds to me.
Usually we sleep with like 2 duvets, so we'll like cuddle, and then he'll put like a duvet between us, so I can't like kick him while I'm having a seizure.
So it sounds to me on any given night, for no reason whatsoever, your bed will be essentially kung fu fighting.
Oh yeah. Just like,
wait.
Every night is kung fu fighting.
Wait. At some point, what we need to do as an experiment, a horrible and going to hell in a handbasket experiment, we need to get Fern and Based Mama in bed together. Not for any naughty purposes, just, well, you can always get them in bikinis, but let them sleep next to each other and just see what happens.
I'll fight back.
Put us in bed next to each other and then switch the strobe light on and just let the games begin.
I'm just letting you know.
Oh, God,
have some cool tech playing in the background.
Has anybody actually seen this movie, Kingsman?
Yeah.
Yes, it's awesome.
It's all right.
Wait, are you talking about the new one or the?
Yeah, the new one.
Oh no, I've only seen the original. It's okay.
It comes out for us on the 22nd.
There's like this girl and she has like no legs or no lower legs.
Oh yeah, the assassin.
Like the first one.
I can't say I'm a huge fan of like that southern accent the like main guy has, so I didn't really enjoy it.
I like
my own personal hang up.
I like the first movie. And you know what the funny thing is that I do have a bunch of feminist friends, and they all fucking love that movie. But they all say the same thing, except for that end scene. And I'm like, you mean me and one where the princess gets the butt sex? I'm like, yeah.
I mean,
she didn't say
everyone
no.
wins.
I mean, she explicitly asked for it. I mean, come on.
Which movie is
She's
this?
surprised.
Yeah,
her.
just like
Kingman?
Mattress Girl.
Oh yeah,
Fuck
Mattress
that bitch. Oh, I want like 5 minutes in a locked room with that fucking bitch.
I don't
No.
know. She's into that kind of abuse, I heard.
Only one of us is coming out alive.
Yeah,
See,
God,
like
what a
when you said
horrible.
that, I was like, is she gonna fist the bitch or fight the bitch, or is she gonna do both?
Both.
I fucking end that bitch.
No.
I hate those chicks. I fucking hate them.
Well,
Just
it's just
suck her
so
to death.
awful. Like it's not just that, you try to ruin a guy's life, which is bad enough, but she tried to ruin his life because he rejected her, and she tried to do it on a national stage. Like it doesn't get worse than that.
Well, that's why I was glad
Oh,
to
it
hear
gets
the guy
worse.
won his lawsuit.
Yeah. Wait, are you
It's
talking about the
fucking
lawsuit
worse.
against the university?
Yeah, he won
Good.
because
Good.
the courts went, no, you endorsed her final project and had teachers saying his name.
Yeah.
I think every dude that gets falsely accused of rape and gets kicked out of his school or whatever needs to turn right the fuck around and sue the ever living fuck out of that school and that bitch.
Well, luckily they are. That's the good news. Is that people, like guys in particular, are actually suing their schools because they're having these kangaroo courts and kicking people out. It's one. I mean, these guys pay for their education, so you
Yeah.
can't really. And they're being kicked out and expelled or whatever unjustly without any real cause, like no evidence. So
There's
That was
part of it is unconstitutional, actually, like the way that it happens. Like I think it's has something to do with they're not being told exactly what the charges are. Or I forget exactly what it is, but there's the reason that they're starting to really crack down on it now is because they're realizing that something about it is actually unconstitutional. Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember which part exactly.
well, it's unconstitutional on a myriad of different things. I mean, one of the things being is that if an actual crime or they suspect a crime of rape is to happen, you get the police involved, which is what they did in the early, like most prominent things, like the Duke lacrosse team and the Jackie case. The police were involved in there, and that's how the guys got away. They were able to be free. After that, well, then now they don't get the police involved in any of these other future events. It's all done on college campuses. That's when you hear about the kangaroo courts, and because these little tribunals, you can't see the air quotes, but I'm doing them as hard as I can. It's done by like the staff and the dean and other kinds. These are people who aren't qualified to determine whether or not a rape.
Let's just call them what they are, witch hunts.
They are witch hunts. But yeah, I mean, these are unconstitutional. They're illegal. You can't do that. And you have to actually get the police involved if there's a suspicion of actual rape going on. But they know perfectly well that if the police get involved, they're going to do all the research and then look into it, and they're going to find the same thing that the other guys found. And they're going to find that nothing happened, and that these are people who found, or maybe they will find something. I don't know. But that's why you got to get the police involved.
Yeah. Did you guys? Does anybody listen to Honey Badger Radio?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because Hannah had a very interesting theory about why she thinks that the kind of campus kangaroo court thing exists, and I actually wrote a script that's a continuation of something that she was saying. I haven't recorded it yet, but what she was saying is that the kangaroo courts on college are trying to set the stage for the future so that college students get used to this idea that they don't necessarily need a trial for rape, sexual assault, sexual harassment, and any sort of male on female violence on college campus. And then people go on into the real world and they'll feel similarly. And that's going to create more jobs for the professional feminists, like the professional radical feminists that end up working in domestic violence counseling and family court and the big industry of feminism, which is all these extremely biased people that end up working in various jobs where it's basically, getting prosecuting men and getting as much money out of men as possible. And it's certain people's, like, it's one of the only things you can do with the gender studies degree is work in this kind of evil feminist role, and there's lots of them. So Hannah was saying that she laid that out as sort of a theory, and that made sense to me. And then I realized, I was like, you know what, one of the things people were talking about, how there's trigger warnings on college campuses, and they were saying they should even be able to put trigger warnings into law classes. So like you're taking some sort of training to be a lawyer or some sort of legal class, and they're going to put trigger warnings around rape and sexual assault in the actual legal class, which is obviously absurd. But if you think about the idea that they're trying to get rid of due process around rape and sexual assault anyway, then they would want that. They would want students that are terrified of even talking about it, even lawyers, because these people wouldn't end up wanting to be involved in rape cases, and it would speed up the process of getting rid of due process entirely. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to have a trial when you can't even talk about the crime being committed.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's so mad that, it's like, is that what they really wanted to do? That can't be really what they wanted to do. But so much of feminism has been so mad, and yet they continue to do it and say it and get away with it. Like if somebody were to ask feminists, or sorry, if you were to ask the average person 10 years ago if you ever believed that feminists would be going around saying that gay men are constantly grabbing women and gay men are constantly sexually assaulting women, you probably wouldn't believe that feminists would make that accusation, and yet they say it all the time. Like they're like, oh yes, gay men are constantly grabbing my boobies. I can't go to a gay bar. And it's like,
why are you going to the gay bar?
Well, no, the motive, according to feminists, is it's an act of patriarchal control, and they think that all acts of rape or sexual assault have nothing to do with sex and only to do with power. And if you think that,
ridiculous.
Yeah, so if you were to think that, then gay men have every bit as much motive as straight men, and so it could seem believable. And feminists have no problem lying. So once they think that, they just start telling people that gay men grope them all the time, and it's like, that just doesn't happen though. Like if you actually hang out at gay bars, you would think that maybe you'd hear a complaint from a woman once, like, dude, don't fucking touch me, it's my fucking boobs. But that does not happen. And trust me, I've spent a while in gay bars.
Yeah, I figured, Prince. Well, see, I always imagine that like, say, let's just say me and Fern go to a gay bar together. I'm in more danger of getting groped than she is, and I'm much less less attractive than she is on any basis. But
I mean, I used to have a gay friend who would always grab my tits, but I think that was because we were friends, and he was like, "Here's a boundary I can cross."
Oh yeah, well no, and that shit does happen definitely between friends.
That's a different thing.
Yeah, it's different with friends. I think it's also different between two female friends in the way that they'll sort of like touch each other a little bit. But there is this. And I think that that's probably where the rumor kind of got started, is because that does happen. Like I've definitely seen friends sort of do that with each other. But when feminists start saying that, like, random gay men that they don't know are doing, and it's like, no, they aren't. Like, I just don't believe you. Like, what fucking gay guy actually does that? But feminists lie a lot. Like, it's their favorite fucking thing to do, and just.
And ironically, you could say they lie for the same reason that they accuse like gay men of trying to do these things, for power.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So just real quick, I want to make a point about rape and sexual assault. If you believe you have been raped or sexually assaulted, the first thing you should do is you should go to a doctor and have a rape kit done. You should then file a report with the police and do this within 24 hours of the incident happening.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. It's a weird thing because the stuff on the I actually just made a video about Betsy DeVos's Title IX decision and why it's a good thing. And one of the things that the Title IX people are, okay, part of their justification, part of their like clever way of getting rid of due process for students on college campuses, and they have to justify why is it that universities are allowed to just witch hunt these guys. And their thing that they say is, well, lots of young women don't want to go to the police for blah blah blah, and they go on for like 2 paragraphs about how young women don't want to go to police for various reasons, which is like, so okay, first of all, it's not really true. So, like that I would say the vast majority of young women who are upper middle class type women who end up in college, if they were legitimately like seriously raped, they would probably or beat up or something like that, like they might say, oh yeah, fuck the police, blah blah blah, and unless they got assaulted, then they would be totally fine going to the police. So I think that that's a little bit of a stretch of the imagination, like that young women are gonna actually get seriously assaulted by a dude and not go to the police. Like, I just don't think that that's really true. The only thing that I could come up with in my head that a woman might want to is if she's an undocumented, as they would call her, aka an illegal immigrant or something, maybe she would not go to the police. But other than that, like, I don't fucking know any girls that like, like, and I mean feminists, like there's all sorts of feminists that would say, oh, I don't like the police, Black Lives Matter, I hate police officers, but if a fucking dude put his hands on her, she would love the police.
Do you want to know something really funny? It's not actually funny. It's quite ironically tragic. I was raped when I was 15, and I went and looked for a support group to find out what the fuck I did. And it was a feminist support group, and they basically talked me into not going to the police.
Oh, really? Why? What did they say?
They told me that like that they would stretch it out and make me out to be a whore and ask me what I was wearing and make it out to be my problem, that because I was underage and I was drinking.
Weird. I wonder why they would do that.
They made me so scared to go to the police.
That's so fucked up.
And I would recommend, if you are ever raped or sexually, so you go to the police, because it is a lot of guilt to live with as a 15-year-old, as a young woman.
Well, yeah, and especially realizing
you're responsible for another woman being attacked.
Yeah, especially and like you could have done something and you didn't. But would you be interested in making a collab video about that with me?
Yeah.
Cool, because I feel like that's a really interesting story, and I had never actually heard that feminists actually tell victims not to go to the police. Like, it doesn't surprise me, but I never remember actually hearing that, and that's just crazy.
Yeah.
They didn't say the words explicitly, don't go to the police, but they said, if you go to the police, this will happen.
They basically feed you a nightmare scenario, like a doomsday scenario.
Yeah, they made it out that I'd have been called a whore and blamed for what happened to me. You know, all the stereotypes feminists like to say that, you know, the police actually do. Which, if a police officer is asking you what you're wearing, 9 times out of 10 it's so they can check security cameras to see if someone followed you out.
Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of reasons why. I mean, the first thing that every time you ever talk to a police officer about anything, they ask what you look like, what you were wearing, and what your assailant looked like, and what they were wearing, and that's just how everything. That's you know.
It's not like you were wearing this, therefore it's justified. It's just they're saying they're just kind of trying to be thorough, right?
Yeah.
But that's so fucked up because it's like the only.
I was wearing a black top and black leggings, which is clearly the most erotic of ensembles.
Yeah, you know what?
Like you were about to.
Asshole, we're talking about 15-year-old burn. No. All
like
right.
you're
okay, fine. If it was a vampire rapist, I get it. But other than that, no.
I was gonna say that it like she was about to steal some jewels from a museum or something.
Ninja Fern.
I legit, to be fair, during that time, I legit dressed like I was like in Antifa, all black everything.
Oh,
God. The goth kids must be so pissed off at having their aesthetic stolen.
But like, okay, I'm trying to like wrap my.
Would that mean Antifa was engaging in cultural appropriation?
Oh God.
Antifa should probably like mace themselves right now.
Yeah, sorry, Prince. Go on.
Oh, I'm trying to wrap my mind around why feminists are actually discouraging rape victims for going to the police immediately. And I think that the only thing I can come up with is that they want less people to be reporting rapes because then it justifies their narrative because like supposedly
it's another power thing because if you depend on the feminist group or the feminist ideology as your primary means of support or what have
That's exactly what happened.
I think there
that is exactly what happened with me.
Explanation. I think the rank and file, the useful idiots, they believe it. Most of them have no experience with what it's like to go to the police. They're middle, well off upper middle class, basic bitches. They have no experience.
I was like a straight up like fucking like radical feminist when I was younger.
Or if they do have experience with the cops, it's because they were protesting or rioting or some shit. So well, of course they see the cops as hostile. Because the last time they met one, they were fucking shit up. So I think it's far less nefarious than that, but still insidious. But I don't think they plan it that way. At least not the rank and file ones, anyhow. Sorry.
I mean, like I can't tell you people's motives behind it, but like that happened, and I was like, oh, so what do I do, and blah blah blah, and it was just like one big fucking indoctrination. It was like, oh, men is scum.
You should invite drunken Uncle Lynn.
Not overt, but
I am in the process of putting drunken uncle in. Sorry, I interrupted you when you were saying something that you should keep saying.
It was like every like fucking bullshit argument against like the patriarchy, and obviously because I was in a really rough patch, and like I got out of I got out of that happening to me, and then when I finally was in a relationship, it was with a man who was very abusive sexually and physically and emotionally and financially.
Was he a male feminist?
No, but he was like the biggest pussy I ever met. Because like after we broke up, and he like stalked me for like 6 months after. I saw him in the street once, and I just fucking I just clocked him in the face.
Oh dear.
May I say something?
Yeah.
No, how dare you? You're oppressing me. Stop mansplaining.
Okay. Maybe this is just my right-wing brain going on here, but I think it's just really indicative of how dedicated a lot of these feminists are to their ideology that they would go so far as to try and, make a rape victim believe that like even the patriarchy has infected the police department.
But it was like I was in a weird position because I was like, a lot of people were like, oh well, it's your fault, you shouldn't have like let him kiss you and shit, and I was like, well, like that shit happens, like
was that the feminists who said that, or was that
no, and people that I was at a house party, and the people I was at a house party with said that I shouldn't have done this, I shouldn't have done that, and I was like, well, it's all good, shoulda, woulda, couldas.
Do you know how old the guy was?
27.
You want to know something funny? Well,
sure.
It's not really funny. It's not really funny. Age of 9. I was raped by my mom's boyfriend.
Oh. Oh. Sorry to hear that.
Oh.
God damn.
Oh dear.
Yeah, and the funny thing is I didn't tell anybody until I was 27 because I was told all my life as a childhood that everything was my fault, and she was happy at the time. I didn't want to ruin that either.
Oh, so did she didn't ever know?
Do you remember this guy's name? Because I'm going to stomp his fucking face.
You don't
oh my god, we
about
just got
that.
the worst person for this conversation.
Hey, she's got spunk. I like her.
Wait, what's the matter?
Very serious conversations going on in
Drunkle,
You don't have to worry about that, Vern.
You are roboting a lot.
Let me take it.
I'm a fighter bitch. For a hand.
I was listening. Okay, so like I was playing Overwatch and just kind of like letting videos play, and it got onto Mr. Medicare's channel, and he was going through the like weird stories of him like chronicling shit about crazy people, and he got to this one guy who was like talking about eating his like his half sister's like shitty asshole or something. Did any of you listen to that?
No. Can't say eating half sister's shitty arsehole is in my browsing history.
I dread every single time he does an episode of Deviants because I'm like, I've done a lot of commissions over the years. I pray to God he doesn't find the one I worked on. I don't know what he's gonna do, but I dread it. I dread it each time.
It's some pretty intense shit.
Let's get back to the rape. That's what the real fucking hero is. Come on. Prince, I have no idea, right? I was sat in it. I was sat watching your stream, and it got all solemn and shit. And you got one girl telling a story about, her fucking her survival of rape, and then you had another guy saying about, oh, I was raped when I was younger, and you thought, hey, I'll invite Drunken Uncle. What's the matter with you?
Drunken Uncle, you make the party.
No, it's kind of a good point. Too late.
It's okay. I didn't survive rape. I bent rape over. And I fucked him without consent.
I don't really know you guys, but especially from the female, which was the one that I really heard. It was I was joining which is when the male came in. But no, that was a touching story, and no, I was a little bit affected by that. That was a very sad story. I'm ever so sorry that happened to you.
It's all right. You didn't rape me. It's not your fault.
I'll give it time.
According to, if the narrative is to be believed, it's just a matter of time.
I mean, I'm just like, I feel like everyone has raped me, and it just makes us all cool.
Well, we have to,
you loved it.
We have to make sure you know your place.
You loved it.
I was obviously asking for it.
Yeah, Your Honor. You sound English. Are you English?
I am.
Oh, good for you. Well done.
I'm gonna go thank my mother for giving birth to me in the right country.
In the right country. You got it right. See, you shake her hand. You say, "Well done, mother. Did it right." And presumably, looking at your photo, you're not ginger either, so you got lots to thank her for.
I mean, the gene runs in the family, so I'm probably gonna have little ginger kids.
No, there's always abortion. Don't worry.
Get ultrasound in color, so you can just see the first hairs. Nope. Fucking skip it out. I'm done.
He's not wrong.
I'm so sorry, Prince.
You should be able to see all the freckles on their faces.
I just come into Prince's streams and I just destroy them. I'm so sorry, Prince.
Come in, you piss all over the place. Come on.
Remember, I didn't used to do that. Like the first couple of streams, in fact, the first stream I was ever in was with you, and I was like really kind of timid and shit like that. And now, fucking,
I wouldn't say you were timid exactly, but you weren't. Like saying completely inappropriate stuff to my guests.
It's really been my experience that a lot of like the more like bombastic, for lack of a better word, YouTube personalities tend to be fairly timid in person.
I like this word bombastic. Yeah, that was an excellent.
It reminds me of that fucking. They call me Mr. Romantic. Tell you that.
Mr. Bombastic.
Yeah.
You were reminded by the key word in that song, and that was the one word you couldn't fucking remember.
Because I didn't want it. Like, I thought it was called that, but I didn't want to say that because I was like, no, it can't be called that.
Sheffield. You're from Sheffield.
I'm from Manchester.
Ah, how many miles is that? How many miles away was I?
I mean, it's over an entire mountain range, so.
Yeah, I didn't really count the mountains. Okay, fair enough.
No, I get it a lot. I get it from people from like fucking Manchester. They think I'm from Sheffield. It's because I've got like a mix of Cheshire and Manchester.
I'm sure that's the case, and not that you sound retarded. What were we talking about anyway? It was something about rape.
I think it was like surprise butt sex.
Don't do.
Oh no, there was a whole a feminist tint to it that I was really liking though.
Oh, about the whole projection.
Yes, yes, exactly. I mean, obviously not. I mean, apologies to my lady. I'm sorry, I didn't quite see your name. My screensaver's just come up, and my computer's shit. It's still not taking it down, so I still can't see your name. But I mean, not to try and make light of what you went through.
Oh no, it's
and
fine.
Obviously.
I make jokes about it all the time. It's okay.
Yeah, of course you do because you went through it. But the moment I do it, I'm a bastard. And
Yeah,
don't get me
but
wrong,
you
I'm used
can't-
to that. But I don't want to be a bastard to you.
To be
Drunken
fair,
uncle, you can make fun of mine.
can't mock a rape victim. You can mock.
Oh,
you're a dodgy cunt, you are, mate.
I mean, next thing you tell me that I can't mock cripples, and that's just fucking ludicrous.
I think Ludacris is actually a rapper, but there was a whole thing about the feminist tint to this, how kind of someone getting raped is exploited, I guess would be the way to put it.
Well, again, like we were saying, they basically try to internalize the victim complex because that gets you dependent on the ideology and on the feminist group.
Yes. No, that makes total sense. If you if you look at it, it would be in much the same mentality as keeping someone dependent on a street gang.
I think as well they keep young women dependent on, because I mean I think every woman to an extent has had like a difficult relationship in part with men, because we're humans and we have difficult relationships with each other.
Of course.
So you grab a young girl full of hormones, hating everything, wondering why the guy she fancies doesn't want to kiss her. And you tell her that all men are evil and that's why she's not getting where she wants to be in life. She's going to be like, yeah.
Yeah, well, and also it's easy to say, like, oh, hey, the world isn't perfect, and it's because men are all in charge. And it's like, well...
People in general, it's been my experience, tend to be desperate to find easy answer, any positive solution. Like, this is the problem. This is what we do. And anyone who comes close to that.
Yeah, I agree. And I put that down to the fact that we don't really have anything to survive against anymore. It used to be a case of when winter came and shit like that, we would have to fucking fight to survive. And now we don't. We just get frustrated. We got to do something.
Well, to be fair, that's probably the origin of a lot of the feminist movement to begin with. Nothing to do.
I would say that, yeah.
The slaves are taking care of the work out in the fields and the house cleaning. What's a woman to do?
What can she do? Beat on the black people, obviously.
Well, you can beat them or you can love them, but then I mean that's mixed breeding, and that's not okay.
I think that they would do both.
I imagine they probably did, and in the moment that they got caught, they just sort of would turn around and say, "Oh, he raped me," and then that was the birth of lynchings.
Yeah,
patriarchy is kind of like Schrodinger's immigrant. Simultaneously stealing your jobs and all the welfare.
Schrodinger's immigrant. Fuck it.
Oh, classic.
I want this content on every stream. I love them. That laugh is just yeah.
That is the best fucking thing I've ever heard. Oh, well done. Well done. You made me cry a little bit.
I'm so touched.
What's this girl's name? No, yeah, well, once I find out your name, you will be touched.
Giggity.
I'm sorry, I can't help it. I say him before I even think of him. It's my bad. Ferns. Is that your name? Ferns. Ferns what?
Just Fern. It's Fern's loathing. It's Fern and loathing. Like fear and loathing in Las Vegas because I'm edgy.
Ah, yeah. Well, edgy. Edge Lord. Or Lordess. Edge Lady. Do you run a channel?
Actually, it could be Lord with an E.
I
No, that would be Randy Marsh.
I keep meaning to make videos, but every time I sit down to make a video, I just get like really angry. And then
right, so you're just a pretty person on YouTube. That's what's going on here.
I mean, I appear on streams and argue with people, but no one lets me argue with them anymore because everyone's like, "Oh no, I agree with you," and it's really boring.
No further questions. I think that's
I do rile up every race on Twitter.
Oh God. Actually,
that's good.
For you on Twitter now.
I've been being called like an anti-black person of color all week. That's been fun.
Is that actually your profile picture? Because I tell you what, right? You don't look northern.
I think Drunken Uncle's hitting on you.
I think he might be.
I think that's literally the best compliment you can get as a northerner. You don't look northern.
Yeah, oh, fucking hell, brilliant. I'll jump on the train right now.
Yeah, to be fair, the traditional northern look is I've worked in a coal mine my whole life, or my cousins fuck each other. So.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And you've got a canary on your shoulder. Yeah, I know all about that. But at the same time, come on down.
Hey, is it? Okay, is anyone else getting an echo?
Yeah.
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
Oh, it might. Hold on.
Actually.
It might be me.
It is.
Has it gone away?
Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Highlight.
Oh yeah. Totally.
Burn is really echoing.
Yeah.
Huh.
When we went to Zimbabwe.
No.
I'm not hearing the echo.
Voice of God.
I'm hearing the echo.
I am the Almighty Oz.
Free
Wait, is it? Can you still hear the echo?
You talk, Prince.
Everyone goes mental when there's an echo. It's great.
Wait, but not when I talk?
No, not when you talk. You're coming clear. Everyone else.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is my headset. Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna move it away from the ear a little bit. Is it talk to other people?
Well, we always just take turns meeting ourselves.
Yo, Ferris, you ought to find me on Twitter. Come on.
Sounds like we're inside.
Yeah. This time next year, guys, you'll all be invited to the wedding. Prince of Queens will be best man. No, I actually expected a lot more laughs.
This is when we do subliminal messages to the audience.
Is there an audience? Oh, not Chess.
Please mute.
Oh, we got 27.
Wait, are you saying that there's fucking echo? Are you saying that we have actual viewers?
27 of them.
I just couldn't deal with the
Right now it says 27.
Wait, is
I'm
the
skeptical.
echo coming from? Did the echo still exist when I was muted?
No.
Yes, I think it did.
Hold on, let me try muting mine.
It's still accusing echoes.
This is so fucking fun. Right, I'll tell you what, I was going to go to bed anyway. I only joined in as a little sub note. So, nice to meet you all.
Real pleasure.
I'm a huge fan. Drunk uncle.
Likewise.
You guys have got the street.
Take care, my baby.
Sounds awesome with the echo.
So I heard that twice. And then I didn't hear it anytime.
All right.
Yeah.
Here you drunk.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Prince, for inviting me to the stream.
Evening.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for coming on. You're starting to robot now, so I guess you should go.
It's the best.
I've always called it Dawn.
Hello?
Echo.
Oh, it's still there. God damn it all. There. All right. I can't take this echo. I'm getting a headache. All right, take care, guys.
Bye. Yeah, we don't really need to stream that much longer. I'm kind of thinking of wrapping it up anyway. But thanks for everybody.
Oh wait, no.
It's the end of the hour.
Thanks everybody for tuning in and coming on.
Hell yeah! Thanks for my second ever live stream.
Thanks for having us.
Okay. Yeah. See you guys all later. Bye.
Bye.